Started. Okay, sweet. Okay, so welcome everybody and hello. My name is Shannon and today I'm going to be your Copic project instructor. So if you joined us last week, I'm your same instructor this week too. And before we get started on the demo for today, I want to let you guys know a little bit about myself. So I've been using Copic markers for the past 11 years and I got hooked on them when I was in about 8th grade. So since then, my drive and passion for creativity took me all the way through college. I attended SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, and have been using my 11 years of experience with Copic markers to give some tips and tricks on how I use the markers. So with that being said, I want to let you guys have a sneak peek at what we're going to do today. And this is an example of our little goodie bag that we're going to make. So I've got a paper flower here on one of these sides. And I've got some satin ribbon tied into a bow on this side. And then I've also colored the bag itself using the Copic Ciao 6-piece bright set colors. I also have paper flowers here that I'm wearing as earrings. So there's a lot of different ways besides embellishing this goodie bag to use these other surfaces. So again, if you joined us last week, I was just giving tips and tricks on blending, and that was making a bookmark on marker paper on a 2-dimensional surface. Today, what's really exciting is we're going to take that to a more 3-dimensional level. So again, we've got paper flowers, we've got satin ribbons, and we've got this goodie bag surface. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and flip my screen over so you guys can see what I'm working with on my workstation. Can you guys see my screen in front of me?
Yeah,
okay, so yeah, in front of me I've got just what I'm used today. So I've got my ruler. This is a 4-inch ruler. Since I'm going to cut my ribbon to be 20 inches long. If you want to cut your ribbon longer or shorter, that's also totally fine. But I like that 20-inch length for this demo. And then I've got paper flower samples here. When I was at my local Michaels stores, I bought a 36-piece set of, pre-made paper flowers like this. So I'm going to be using this paper flower today, and this is an example of how it's colored. I've got my scissors for cutting the ribbon and maybe making any incision on the flowers that you want. And then I've got the Copic Ciao 6-piece brights set colors. So these are the 6 colors we're going to use today. And then I've got a small paper bag. This measures about 4 by 5 inches. So got our little goodie bag, and then underneath all of this, I have a practice sheet of paper. This is just to catch any marker bleeding whenever we're coloring the ribbons or the paper flowers. So yeah, if we were using marker paper, I might not need this extra sheet, but because these are a little bit more delicate or the surfaces act a little bit differently than a normal piece of marker paper, I like to have that sheet underneath just in case. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move the bag and the scissors and whatnot out of the way and slide my markers over. Going to get ready to start coloring the ribbons. So I do want to mention too that last week I had talked about the flicking technique for blending. And what's really great about satin ribbons is that this fabric will kind of naturally blend the pigment together without having to do a lot of effort. So this is what we'll get with blending 3 colors together. And I don't really have to go over the colors too much because of that fabric. It blends really well just naturally. So this is the effect that we're going to get. And if you guess from the colors here, I'm going to use the Y06, the YG06, and the B00. So I'm going to go ahead and get my ribbon out. And I'm right-handed, so I'm going to work, over here on this side of my surface. And I'm also going to work from the bottom of the ribbon up. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my example ribbon here just for y'all to see and to have as reference as I am working. And then I have my ribbon over here. And I do want to mention too, this is about 3-4 inches. So it's not very wide, but it's not super narrow either. So if you have a wider ribbon, that is great. It might just take you more time to fill in the space. So just letting you guys know that. And I'm just going to kind of follow along with my example next to me. I'm going to start with my Y06. And just to give you guys a little example here, or talk to you about the marker, the super brush nib is the side that I will be using, and that has this gray stripe. So the Ciao, just like the sketch, has the super brush nib and the medium broad nib. Some physical differences are the caps. These are the entire, color of the marker is the color of the cap versus the sketch that just has it on the very end. And these are shaped like a circle, so they're not like an oval. Ciao are also sold at a cheaper price point because there's less ink here in the barrel, and they have 180 colors versus your full 358. But these are a great way to get started using the high quality Copic markers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and uncap that super brush side. And again, I love this nib so much because it's super flexible and really gives good blending. So that's what that super brush nib looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and gently fill in this very bottom area here, and then I'll hold this with my left hand, and then I'm going to work flick my brush up about 1.5 to 1 3/4 inches. It doesn't have to be that exact measurement. If you want to shade more, that's totally fine. But I'm just going to flick the color up, and I'll show an example right here on my test sheet. So we press a little bit harder and lift it as we go up. So it's just like a gentle flick or a feather. And also I do want to say this is a satin ribbon, so you might be hearing a little bit of that marker squeak, depending on how quickly I move my brush. So again, I'm just flicking that color so it's not as saturated here towards the end. It's more dense here at the base. I'm going to put that aside and grab my green color, YG06. Okay, and then now to blend this in, I'm going to go up here to my midsection because I'm going to have about half this length one direction and half the other. And again, this is with satin. These techniques I might not necessarily use for paper, but for the satin texture of this ribbon, this works really well. And then I'll go from that base and kind of work my way up. And you'll see that color overlap here in the middle. Right now it looks like a straight line, but we're gonna work that out and just add a few more layers to get that color blended. And that way we have this nice flicking technique combined with adding multiple layers to create more contrast. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and grab my blue, my B00. What's nice about these Ciao markers too is that the color number is listed twice on the mark body. So again, I'm going to work up here and kind of flick my brush downward into the green. And then I'll go from the middle and flick upwards. Again, I've got that multiple layer of pigment here in the middle, so I can add some more layers of ink there to even it out and not have it look as a marker streak.
Hey Shannon, quick question from the audience. How many inches of ribbon is that? I'm guessing like 6 to 8 inches, or how long?
Oh, actually, this is 20 inches.
Oh, a full 20 inches of ribbon? Dang, okay.
Yeah, so this is my example. It won't fit in the screen, but this is 20 inches. But if you want to cut it shorter, that's totally fine. I'm going to repeat this yellow, green, blue about 4 times. So if you want to make it about 10 inches, you would just repeat this twice.
Awesome, thank you.
The other way. Yeah. Okay, and then I'll do that again. I'm just gonna slowly start to scooch this down. And actually, before I go ahead and repeat that, I just want to show you guys what I've done here. So you see that yellow will naturally kind of blend with that green because of the satin. I can go over this again with another layer of that Y06, but I kind of like that streaky look, and the blue also flows very effortlessly with that green. Okay, so I'll go ahead and slide this down. Okay. I'm going to grab that yellow again, the Y06, and about halfway up to one mark, maybe 3/4 inch, I will start to flick down into the blue. And if you notice, now that we're going into the blue, this starts to get a nice light green color because yellow is a primary color and so is blue. If you mix these together, you get a green color. So what's neat about this is these colors in particular blend very well together. And two of these colors can create this color. So if you don't happen to have a green color, or if you don't have this specific set with you today, if you want, you can actually make your own green combining the yellow and the blue. And I can actually show that here once I finish this next segment of ribbon. So I'm going to flick this color down to that yellow. And then carry that up. What's nice too about the Copic Ciao is they are also refillable. Actually, every Copic marker is refillable. So in case you feel like your ink is running low, you can buy the refill color and keep that marker intact, but just add more ink, which is great. Okay, I'll slide this down again.
Hey, Shannon, I've got one more question from Gail in the audience. She asks,
Sure.
when you tie a bow, you get some of the wrong side of the ribbon. Does this show up in the same way on the back side?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and just finish filling in this blue area here, and then I'll show you.
Actually, Gail, I can answer your question directly. It's not hard to refill Copic markers. You actually get the Copic ink, that's our new refill product. Gently pull out the nib with tweezers. We actually sell our own tweezers to gently pull out that nib, and then you stick the Copic ink in there and refill it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's great about the Copic refill. I do want to mention too, before going into detail about refill, this is what the front looks like of that finished ribbon, and this is the back. So it is a little bit more pale, but it's not going to look completely, washed out. If you wanted to make this backside more saturated before you tie the bow, you can go over it again with the same colors. So I can go over this with blue. It's just going to make the other side more saturated, but it'll add more depth to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go with my yellow. And this time I'm actually going to work further up because I'm not going to use my green. I'm going to show you guys how to make a green. So I'm going to go further up in here and then have my blue and bring that down. So I'm going to take advantage of this satin ribbon and how easy it is to blend. So I'm going to go right around, let me scoot this up for you guys to see. Flick that color into the blue a little bit. And then just bring this up. Nice big saturated section of the yellow. Because again, this area that would be green, I'm going to make a green with these two colors, right? So that is my yellow segment. Now I'm going to take that B00 and do the same thing. Again, I need to hold the ribbon with my left hand, so pardon me covering this up too much. But I'm going to bring that into this yellow and really fade those colors together. So I'm working in a much larger area right now, but I'm just gently bringing in these blues and adding in layers of the pigment. So right now in here, getting this nice green color, I need to bring my yellow a little bit further up. Just pop my cap off. So I've got a nice green going there just with, you know, yellow and the blue, but I need to go back and add some more yellows to get this further up. So this, using Y06 and B00, this is not the exact YG06 color, but it does give you a very nice light green. So again, I'm going to take my blue and kind of soften that out. And there we go. So I'm going to hold this up in comparison. So right there is the green that I just made using the blue and the yellow. And this right down here is the YG06 color that we used out of the tube. So again, this is the green I just made. So it's a nice, very soft green. Okay. I only have a little bit left of my ribbons here before we are done shading with this flicking technique. So I'm going to take my Y06 again and flick. If you, I do want to point this out, since I'm holding the ribbons, if you want to tape it to your table for just more stability, that would be totally fine too. I just have to move these around to show you guys, so otherwise I would tape it, that would help. Okay, I'm going to take that green out again and just, you know, blend these colors together. Again, getting that nice marker squeak. So the flicking technique and just adding more depth by layering, those are like the two most commonly used marker techniques that I've come across. And to finish this off here, I need to just be delicate and flick it down into the green. I'm also, so right here, I was flicking upwards, not down into the color. I'm not applying a lot of pressure because I'm going against the grain or against my consistent kind of flow of flicking. I softly apply the brush. And so the satin fabric will blend those colors, you know, naturally together for me. But I'm going to hold this up, and this is what my ribbons look like. So again, I'm just alternating colors, and luckily for me, the satin fabric really like naturally has those colors collaborate with each other, and it's really easy to blend using this fabric. Okay, so I've got my ribbons completed. I'm going to put away one of them off to the side, and I'm going to grab my scissors. And what I'm going to do here on the very edge, it might be slightly frayed. I'm going to cut a little triangle shape out. So I have my scissors, and all I'm going to do is cut, I guess that's like 1/4 of an inch up to about the halfway point, midsection of this ribbon. And then I'll go from the other side and do the same thing.
Hey, so Shannon, we've got another question from the audience, this time about the fabric itself. Does the fiber content matter? Would cotton or polyester work as well or better?
So like say, in my past, I've actually created custom like vans using Copic markers. The thing with alcohol markers is that they will soak through. So notice this is the back side and this is the front. If you're using a like a paint-based marker, that paint-based marker is a water-based and it'll sit on the surface, so it won't like soak through. So if you're using like a cotton or a canvas, you can use alcohol markers, but they're going to bleed a lot. So if you're looking for details with that, you're not going to get that as much. But again, for this sake, since I'm not doing something hyper detailed, it's just blending colors together, you can do that very easily. But if you're looking for hyper detail, it's not going to be as easy due to the surface. Does that help? But yeah, so I just cut out this little triangular shape here on the end. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, just to give it a nice crisp finish. So cut a little bit up into the ribbon and cut over here to make a triangle shape. And there we go. So we've got our ribbons colored. We've got these cute little finishes here on the ends. And now I'm going to go ahead and set my practice sheet aside. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get out a piece of masking tape. So I've got a strip of masking tape right here. And what I'm going to do, this is just a little cheat that I've established, is take one of my markers and tape it down to my surface so it's nice and firm. And then at the halfway point of my ribbon, I'm going to flip it to the back side. So this is the back of my ribbon. And I'm going to slide it underneath my marker. And I'm going to use this marker as like a base for tying this ribbon. So I'm just going to use this to tie a knot. Oh. And again, with your ribbons, you can kind of like fold them and manipulate them to make sure they face the front. But again, if they don't, no worries. You can always, color the back side of the ribbon too. So there we go, and kind of adjust it. I'll slide it off my marker. And then again, if I want to make this section kind of puff out, I can manipulate it if I want. Let me turn it this way. But yeah, so there we go. If you want to tighten the back, you can. But this is the ribbon that's tied into a neat little bow. I also want to mention, because I used my marker as a base, I've got this kind of big area in the back here that I can place tape on. So that'll be really nice when I tape it to my bag later. So that's why I like to have this little space back here. Okay, that is your ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and I'm going to bring out a paper flower. Or I can just set here in case you guys want to see that for reference. Okay, untape my marker, and I'm going to bring out that practice sheet again. I'm actually just going to go ahead and fold it in half. But yeah, if you guys missed that ribbon, I can go back to it later, or if you guys want to check out this video, it will be recorded and posted, so you can check it out too. Okay, so I've got some examples to show you guys. I'll actually keep that right there. So this is my just blank flower. I bought a set of 36 flowers at my local store, and some of them have this like beaded center. I'll show you guys this. This is like a beaded center. This one just has like a little, I don't know, a little bead. Some of them have like little buttons to them. And then some of them also have this kind of squiggly centerpiece. So, but for this demo, I'm just going to use this one with a simple center. And I want to show you guys too some examples, and I'll set these up here just to have as reference. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with this blank paper flower. And for what I'm going to use for the demo today, I'm actually going to use the B05, the B00, and the YG03 and the YG06 and the Y06. So these are 4 colors I'm going to use, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this is a paper flower, and this is not marker paper. It's like a thin, not tissue paper, but it's a rather thin, it's got like a feathered texture to it. So it's not your typical mark paper that will be smooth and thicker. So for this particular instance, because of the surface, I'm going to actually start with my darker color first. And the reason being, let me lift this up. So I started with my darker color first here in the back of this petal, and then I added the lighter color second, and this will naturally lighten that area without me having to do any, back and forth blending as you would with a marker paper. I will just add one layer of this B05 and then one layer of B00. And for this particular paper, that actually works really well. In the front, in the foreground of this flower, I applied the light color first and the dark color second. So as you can see, these colors have naturally blended together yet. I need to go back again with B00, but to make it faster on this particular paper, dark and then light actually works really well. So again, just for today and just for this paper, I would recommend that. So that is what I'm going to show you. And that's what I have here as the example, the dark color first and then the darker green first. So I'm going to start with that. And so I'm going to grab my B05 on the super brush side. And I'm just going to start to slowly add in this pigment and kind of trace around this little center button here and flick the pigment out. So notice too, I'm holding the marker almost vertical because I want to get into those little nooks and crannies. If you want to hold your marker to the side, that would be fine too. Whatever's comfortable for you. For me, I like to hold it almost vertically with these paper flowers. And I'm just going to keep rotating. And just, yeah, flick that color up. Okay, so I went a little over halfway with applying this color of blue. And I'm going to take my YG06 now. And I'm going to need to lift these foreground petals up to get underneath. So again, if my hand is in the way, my apologies. I just need to get underneath those front layer of petals. Similar to what I just did with the B05, I'm going to start to flick and add the color. You also want it to be a little further up in the petal. Let me show you. You want it to be further up in the petal because you want it to actually be seen. Got something in front of it, which is this layer of petals. So that's why I flicked up a little bit further. Also, the yellows will blend in very well with this at the next step. So again, just lifting these first layer of petals and flicking in this green color. I do want to mention too, if you guys want to use the pink color in this set or the purple, you can. These are just colors that I think look well together. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Oh, and I do want to say too, the color combinations and the applications for these paper flowers are quite endless. I've been experimenting a bit before giving this demo, and you can, make these paper flowers, say, into earrings. That's one example over here. I actually am wearing those during the class, and those are using the pink, the yellow, and the green from this same set, so you can use different color combinations. You can use these paper flowers in your scrapbooking, for making cards, for embellishing a frame or like a wreath maybe for your front door. With these paper flowers, the possibilities are very endless, which is very neat. It just adds, three-dimensionality to your Copic marks. So again, I'm going to lift that and zoom this in for you guys to see. So I've got my B05 in there first. I have flicked out the YG06 behind it. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here and add the B00 and blend that in. And then the Y06 and blend that in. So we'll be getting a lot of fun chemical react here with the alcohol marker.
Shannon, we've actually got two questions from the audience. First off, with that flower earring that you have, what's the center attachment on that?
Oh yeah, so this is just, well, it came standard like this. This is just like a bunch of beads kind of glued to the center.
Okay, can you flip it over? Someone's asking to see the back of it.
Yeah. So I have, well, I didn't, this is what it looks like when you bleed through, and this is why we have a piece of paper underneath. Because again, this is not marker paper, so it's going to bleed. And, but it does a lot of funky reactions. And then this is just double-sided tape and a piece of plastic that I punched a hole through.
Okay, perfect.
So,
someone else has a question regarding your ring. It has a B on it. What's that from?
Oh yeah, this is my national championship ring from SCAD. So when I went to SCAD, I was a student athlete and won the national championship for swimming. So that's what the ring is for.
Okay.
Yeah, so SCAD is a good art school. I highly recommend. But yeah, so right now I've got B00. And what I'm gonna do is go from the tip or the edge of these petals and flick it inwards. So again, I will lift this up and show you guys once I add this pigment, but you'll start to see that B05 lift and begin to blend with this B00. So yeah, I'm just slowly rotating my flower. And what's really neat for me too, having more of an illustration background, learning how to use my Copics outside that two-dimensional flat surface is very fun. I'm kind of getting addicted to making these ribbons and paper flowers. And I'm thinking about getting like blank shoelaces to use the same techniques. So whatever I did here with the satin ribbons, you can apply that to like, well, I'm going to test out with like shoelaces and whatnot to really make those fun and custom. I'm going to lift this up. So this is what we've got right now. Notice how there's more, blending going on here. Before, this is what the blues looked like. There wasn't much blending going on there yet, but right here we've got a lot more blending. These colors are looking really great together. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply the yellow color back here with the green. So I'm actually going to kind of take that yellow and flick it into the green. And we are going to get a lot of really great bright colors here too. So again, just slowly rotating this and flick that color downward into that green. For this demo, on the supply list, it was just using this 6-piece bright set. But if you want to have like more details involved, you can use a multiliner pen to maybe add some more of those delicate lines or other details that you want. Or perhaps even colored pencils if you want more precision. I personally love using colored pencils on top of my Copic markers. These markers serve as great base to my creations. And then obviously with pencils, you can get some really fine details there too. I do also want to mention the sorted paper flowers that I got at Michael's. They have different sizes. So this is a larger paper flower. They have one that's a little smaller too. So they come in a variety of sizes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lift this up and show you guys this again. Honestly, this will look really cool as a ring as well. I like how these paper flowers are very versatile. But yes, we've got the green and the yellow very effortlessly blending together. Same with the two blues. So notice we've got one little layer of petals here in the back. What I'm going to do to make the foreground pop is just use the solid B05 color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Take this out. and just, again, like fold these petals back and color. So for example, I'm going to show you guys with this earring. When I flip it, you see all this color back here. I'm going far back into the petal to make sure all my areas are covered. But if you just want to color like this, the area that's exposed, you can do that as well, whatever you want to do. So I need to fold back multiple layers of petals now and start to fill in with this very dark, bold B05. So yeah, when I lay those colors down, these will really stand out here, especially since the tip of the petals, one layer before this, is bright yellow. Yellow and blue to me have always been a very nice color combination. Really makes each color stand out. Also, blue and orange look very well together too. Okay. Do we have any other questions about this process, or I'm just making sure I'm good on speed here. Actually, Nate, I do have a question for the audience. How many of you guys have this 6-piece bright set with you today?
Let's find out. So Jessica has this 6-piece bright set.
Awesome. Yeah, the Ciao sets are a really great way to get started with your Copic collections. And if you don't have the bright set, the colors I'm using, again, any other combination of colors would work perfectly fine for this.
Let's see, LaShonda has the 6-piece brights. Grace has the primary Ciao set. Prahul and Raleigh are looking to get them. Let me turn my camera on real quick. This is what the 6-piece bright set looks like. You'll see these right here. It's a good set. They're actually pretty cheap. 20, hold on, let me look up the price on michaels.com.
I do want to do this to you guys, just to see the contrast of what we've got going on. And again, if I hold it this way, you've got this nice layering effect, these beautiful ways to blend with your markers.
$35.99 michaels.com. Keep an eye out for coupons, sales, anything like that. Actually, Jessica just linked to it. Thank you, Jessica. And I am turning off my video.
Thank you, Nate. Yeah, this is also why we have that test sheet underneath, because this isn't marker paper. You will get some blending. So just stay safe and have that sheet underneath. Okay, so I've got this paper flower all done. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside as well, and all my other little paper examples, and bring out the goodie bag. So at this point, if you guys want to focus more on the flowers or make another ribbon, you totally can. I need to bring in 2 more colors here. But yeah, so with this small bag, I'm actually going to go ahead and color this with Copic markers. But if, say, you want to make more flowers or make more ribbons, I do have a bag that has, this dark green turquoise, just a piece of textured construction paper. So I chose this color because it stands out really well against these light colors used in the ribbons, as well as with this blue and yellow flower. So if you want to use a piece of construction paper and just glue it onto your baggie, you can, but I'm going to go ahead and color it with these markers. So because this is, has lights and darks and are very yellow and blue and green focused, I'm going to use the pink color here on the front. It's R32. So I'm going to go ahead and uncap the medium broadside. And again, it depends on what you color the flower to be. If your flower has different colors, maybe you want to color the bag differently. You can color it yellow. You can color it with pink and yellow. In fact, I'm going to use 2 colors here on the front, but I am using the this side of the broad nib to just create these borders, this border effect. I don't want it to go clean off to the edge of the bag, like this little border. But that's just me. Again, if you want to do it differently, that's totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and use this medium broad side and start to fill in this space. But I will say, once I start getting to this area where the handles are, it's going to start to get a little bit bumpy. So, you know, quickly add in the ink to have it blend more together, but we'll get to there in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding in this layer of pink. And using the medium broad side because I can quickly add even layers. I think I'm just going to stroke it from the bottom to the top. You can work in more of a like snake motion if you want, kind of going up and down, up and down. I realize that I'm actually better lifting my hand and just going from bottom to top. But whatever works for you guys. And if you want to use the super brush nib for this, that is also totally fine. Okay, so now we're getting towards where the handles are. So I'm going to move a little bit slower and try and get my ink down as best as I can. But the good news is, if you have any little mistakes here with filling in the colors, you can place the flower towards the top and kind of cover it up, if you will. So, or if you want to.
Gail right here, Shannon. Gail's asking, do you insert something in the bag to prevent bleed through the other side or inside?
Yeah. So let me just show you. I don't have anything in here, and it's not, I hope you can see, it's not bleeding through to the other side. I mean, you can see the pink where I've just layered, but it's not bleeding through. So the back side is still in good shape. But again, you can. So I'm going to pause here and hold up my flower. So I like how this pink looks against this flower color. It's a very pretty kind of summer vibe here, although we are going into fall. So if you want to make this, instead of just using the pink, let's say you want to add a little bit of orange to it. So I'm actually going to uncap that yellow color. And I'm going to go ahead and use the super brush and flick it up just a little bit to show you what the pink and the yellow look like blended. So I'm just going to gently add this yellow, and you can make a really nice orange color. So you can color on top of the pink using the entire, color the entire area if you want. I'm just using this as an example. So this is, adding a little bit of yellow, and it's getting smooth with the pink. So if I place my flower on top of that, I really like how it's starting to look. So I'm going to go ahead and just add one more layer of the pink from the base up. Maybe add a little bit more depth in here. Trying and lift it, fade the colors to get more. It's going to look darker now because I'm adding another layer of ink, but I want to get that natural blend and to get those colors where I want them. But again, this is completely up to you. I'm just showing you guys an option, but these colors in general, because they're curated to be in a set, they all go very harmoniously together. So I've got this almost like sunset kind of look going on here, and it really allows this dark blue and these yellows to pop. So I really like this color combination. This is looking really good. Okay, so I'm not going to glue this on yet. I have to color the other side first. So I'm going to flip it to the back, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of manipulate this area to fold. so that this is flat. Well, as flat as it can be. I'm gonna have to hold it down a little bit. But okay, so now we've got this very bright yellow, green, and blue ribbon. So what's going to allow for a big contrast here is using we have two darker colors, right? We've got this B05 and this V17. You can color this with the purple or with the dark blue. I think I'm actually gonna go with the dark blue for the back. So yeah, I'm gonna set this aside, but these colors will really have a good contrast together. So I'll save the purple actually to color these sides. So I'll use the purple here and the blue on the back. So I'm gonna take that B05, uncap that medium broad, because again, this nib is very stiff, so you get a smooth line of precision, which is great. And I'm gonna turn my bag and just get that nice outline. I will say I am not using a ruler here. I'm just eyeballing it. So if you want to get a ruler out, that'd be probably more precise. But I'm kind of just going with the flow of the paper and using the edge as my ruler, my visual ruler. Trying to run this parallel as best I can. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it to its side again. It's easier to color this shorter length is a longer length, but if you want to do the longer one, if you're up for the challenge, go for it. So I'm going to take that medium broad nib again and start to add in this dark, rich B05 color. I'm going a little bit slower because the bag, oh, you can see that's where the crease is. So this area could be a little interesting to color. And slowly add in my pigment. I do want to mention too, I've had these markers for a little bit now, but before this demo, I refilled them, so they are good to go. And I will also mention too, with refilling, if you have the Copic ink bottles, that should refill your Ciao markers, I believe 9 times. And it should refill your sketch markers 7 times. And notice here, this is where the straps are. So I'm gonna flip to my super brush because this is more flexible and won't create as many bumps along the way because it will naturally just kind of hug the surface of this paper. The medium broad, again, because it is stiff, it's better for flat, smooth surfaces. But it does give, like earlier down here where it was more smooth, very consistent lines. So I'm going to try and cover up this little runaway line there. And set that marker aside and show you guys how that looks with that ribbon. So that is really popping out, really giving a lot of rich color and contrast. So I'm really liking how this looks. Now, if you want to add another layer of the blue per se, let's add just a little bit here at the base, kind of following the same principle what I showed on the other side. So I just drew another line right there, and I'm going to flick just a little bit, not very much past that crease. So I'm barely adding another layer. But again, this is just to show an example of, you know, creating more depth here at the base. And again, nothing bled through on the other side, so we're looking good. And this ribbon is really looking nice. And again, we've got a little bit more contrast here than we did earlier because I added second layer and I just gently flicked with a super brush nib. Okay. So now this is where things get a little interesting. We've got to kind of puff out this bag, and I'm going to use a little box to stuff it with so that I can actually color these sides. So I've got my handy dandy box that holds my replacement nibs. So if anyone's wondering what the replacement nibs look like, this is actually what they look like if you buy the replacement nibs. So, but this box is about the same size that will fit this bag. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that. So now I've got a more of a flat surface to work with. And I'm going to take that V17 color and color this area in. Set this down for a second and uncap it. And I'm going to use the super brush for this side. The reason being is because I've got a fold here, a fold there. You know, there's lots of folds going on here. So the super brush nib will kind of maneuver your way around that a lot easier than the medium broad. So I'm going to take my tip of the super brush and start to outline a little area that I want to color with purple. Just trying to fill this in. Again, I'm holding my pen a little bit differently than I normally would because I want you guys to see this. So if my lines start to get a little wobbly, I'm just trying to hold this so you guys can see. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to draw a line down the middle where that crease is. Because if you noticed right there as I was drawing it, it's kind of hard to color where the crease. So I almost try and like pre-color it. That helps me a lot. And I'm going to go and color these two segments separately. So I'm going to quickly kind of slither in this color, and again, where those creases are, oh, not my best friend. But I'm gonna slither in this color, going back and forth relatively fast. And by doing this, those like lines or segments before, they'll blend into each other a lot easier because you're not giving them enough time to dry. And if you give them time to dry, it gets that streak, that marker streaky look. So this is a relatively smooth layer of this violet color. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Again, I'm working in segments of 2 to avoid having to cross over that center, like that center line. If I do that, my lines could be a more jagged, a little less even. And my desired look for this is to make it as smooth as possible. So there we go. That is one of these little sides. So I'm going to take this out just to show you. We've got this nice gradient pink here in the front with this yellow to make an orange. We've got our purple, a very nice contrast between these sides. And we've got our blue. So this is a very bold, bright, colorful bag so far. And all we've got is one more side. So we're almost wrapped up here. I'm going to slide in the box again. You could use like a fabric or whatever you got around you to help stuff this. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat what I had just done. So I'm going to draw a line going around the border here. Again, I'm not using a ruler. I'm just eyeballing it and trying to get as close to parallel as possible. And if they aren't exactly perfect, like I just made a little wave right there, I can try and go back and spin that a little bit. Okay, and again, I'm just gonna try, I might need to turn this so that I can get my hand more steady. And just draw a line where that crease is. Those folds can get stubborn. Okay, so there we go. And again, I'm just gonna slither in this pigment. Kind of work my way around these folds here. Okay, so now I should be good to go. Okay. almost wrapped up. Okay, there's one part of this side. And then I'm going to go ahead and work down here. Again, just kind of fiddle with your brush nib to get those segments covered in. And then, yeah, I call this slithering in the color because it's kind of following this, you know, snake-like back and forth. I don't lift my pen unless I have to for my hand, because I like to have the colors applied quickly so they blend without settling too much.
We've actually got a coloring question, Shannon. Rahul wants to know, do you have to go over the middle crease twice?
You don't have to. So right there I did, because again, the crease is tricky. So when I was naturally coloring it, my hand shifted or the paper shifted. So that's why I went over it twice. Because the paper creases there, it will naturally appear darker no matter what you do, because it will sink into that area. So I can go over it, or I can add, you know, say I want to add more depth here, so I can flick some color, you know, add a few more layers to get more of that effect that the center has. But yeah, the center point, because that's where the paper naturally creases, it will be darker. You don't have to go over it though. But the reason, again, I think I said this earlier, but the reason I go over it first is because I don't want to have to jump it every single time I color. It's just easier to bring it into two. I'm trying to save you guys a little bit of a hassle. So, but yeah, I'll remove that box. And again, like I just showed you guys there, you can flick more color if you want to add more depth. I'm just going to leave this part as is, because the front and the back is where all the cool stuff is. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and compress it back to where it's flat, because now we're going to finish it up. So I'll move my earring away, out of the way. So now what we're going to do is take this flower, I'm going to flip it. See, look at all those nice rich blues in the back. Oh, it's beautiful. So I have a piece of double-sided tape. This is just Scotch tape. It's double-sided. Because this is quicker and has less mess, you can use liquid glue or a hot glue gun if you want, whatever it is that you have nearby. So I'm going to put that in the center and press that for a second just to make sure it's down. Okay, and then I'll look at my bag and say, okay, I think I want it a little bit up here, or maybe I want it right in the center. So just kind of figure out where you want your flower and which direction you want to face, and then kind of eyeball it and press it down. So I'm pressing it down in the center, just waiting a few seconds. Okay, and there we go. Also, the reason I put the tape in the very middle is because I want to fluff out these petals. So I'm going to use that with my fingers. You can use tweezers. And I didn't glue the entire back side because I want to fluff it. I really love the three-dimensional quality of this, so I really want to let that show. So here's the side angle, right? You got this nice three-dimensional flower on your bag. I want to mention too, if you've got like crafting scissors or more petite scissors than my massive ones I have, you can like cut and make other incisions in your petals if you want more of that back layer to show. So on my this example, earring example, I actually did make incisions here and kind of made my own little details. So you can do that too with your flower petals. So very customizable. And then I'll flip it to the back and do the same thing with my ribbon. I'll try and flip that over so you guys get the full effect here. Grab another piece of, for me, double-sided tape, but again, what I've got nearby, kind of, you know, get that stuck here on the back side. And then, you know, where do I want this placed? I think right around there. And then, oh, moved. Press it down. Okay, yeah, we're almost there. Awesome. So we've got our ribbon here on the back of our goodie bag. We've got our flower here in the front. If we puff this out, expand it, pardon, we've got our nice purple contrast here on the side. So there we go. Here is our goodie bag. These look fantastic, and I really want to see what you guys have created. So can you guys hold up your creations?
For those of you who finished up, please feel free to hold them up to the camera. That's okay. You don't have to be done right now.
Yeah.
But I would like to see what you guys have got. I know that some of you, I see Dorothy has been using brushes, so I'm wondering what the watercolor version of this looks like.
Yeah, that'd be really neat.
Well, that looks nice.
Yeah. Okay, so Gloria, I see hers. That looks really nice. Trying to see some other examples here.
We got a lot of good ones. I'm looking through the list.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. But yeah, is there any other questions you guys have for me or anything else referring to the demo?
Anybody else? Demo questions?
Or do you want to just
non-demo questions, Grace wants to know if you have any pets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I do have a cat.
Okay, cool. Well, that. But yeah, demo questions, anybody? Questions about Copic markers, anything like that? We'll do our best to answer them for you.
Yeah, if not, I do want to mention, if you have your finished creation, whether it's right now or you want to finish it up later today, we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Tag us, Copic Official US, or I believe Michaels has a hashtag too, Make It With Michaels. So yeah, please share. And again, a lot of ways to use these paper flowers, these ribbons. So I'm really excited to see you guys make some more three-dimensional Copic art. And just real quick before we end the demo today, I do want to mention too that we're going to be back for a third project next Thursday at the same time, 4 p.m. Central. And that is going to be using shrink plastic to make earrings. So I've got a template when you sign up for the class you guys can download, and we're working with Copic Ciao markers yet again, and we're going to make some really awesome fall themed earrings. So yeah, Nate, do you have anything else?
Nope, I am actually posting all our social channels here in the chat. You can follow us for updates about more Michaels classes, all kinds of new art, giveaways, new products, things like that. Please follow those channels. That's my baby. Me and Jess work very hard on them. And join us next week. Actually, we did have a quick question from Leanne. Leanne was asking if the template for the bookmark was available on our site. The answer is no, not yet, but stay tuned. We will put it as soon as we are able.
Yes. Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. I will be with you guys next Thursday as well, and so will Nate. So I look forward to seeing you guys then, and just introducing another new way to use your Copic markers.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.